My voice is trashed. I apologize.
It is, but it's not even straight.
Oh, no, here's the camera right here.
All right, good. I got it.
You just need more you, really, is the issue. My voice is terrible. But look at that. It's Christopher McDonald. You walked in. We're at the Brent Sopel charity celebrity golf tournament here in Lamont. You walked in, and I resisted every inclination to yell Shooter when you walked in. Is that a thing with you?
You're one of the few people who have resisted that. I walk through an airport, or I go to a ball game, or I go to, God forbid, a golf course. Shooter!
It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
It's all good. I'm glad it's resounding with them these many years.
It's good to be known for something.
It is, actually.
And you're known for many things, but it's good to have like that one thing that people bond to.
Yeah, well, and they really bond to it. So thank you, Adam Sandler. Thank you, the Shooter McGavin role. And it wouldn't have happened until I went, I got to meet this Adam Sandler kid. I want to see him on the Saturday Night Live a couple times. He's the funniest, coolest, and smartest, one of the smartest guys I know.
So you actually turned down the role.
I did. I was so exhausted. I was in upstate. I mean, I was in Washington State doing a John Dole movie with Ray Liotta, and I was exhausted. And I hadn't seen my kids. So the brilliant director of Happy Gilmore, Dennis Dugan, said, "What do you need?" And I said, "Well, I'd love to see my kids." He said, "How about we get you a place on the river, and then you could just, have your kids," because kids were tiny then. I said, "You'll do that?" He said, "Yeah." And then he had to go tell Bob Simons, our producer, I kind of promised him housing with his kids. And anyway, it worked out, and I'm so glad I did it.
It was the offer you couldn't refuse.
Well, it was. I mean, hey, you're going to pay me to play golf and play this, really fun villain, and have my kids that can, go home and see my wife and sleep in a bed and see my children in the morning? Yes, I'll do that.
So we're at this golf tournament, and you're just bouncing around hole to hole.
No, I'm not. I am on 18, and I'm a puttmeister. I've torn my ACL, sadly, playing tennis, so I can't really play the game as much as I'd like to drive and hit the ball. But that's your anchor. My right leg and knee is my anchor, so I can't hit the ball. So the doctor said another 4 months. So now when I come to these things, I putt and I meet all of the players rather than playing for the foursome. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel guilty making you walk all the way to my car. Thank you for doing that.
That's all right.
You mentioned playing the villain. I think it was AV Club said that there's something about you playing slightly shady types. That's kind of a sweet spot for you, historically.
Well, everybody needs, every story needs a bad guy. And I just try to find a different shade to each and every one of them because other than that, I'm just repeating myself. But it's a fun role to play because if you don't have that, that force that comes from the left, and the hero's not heroic. You know what I mean? It's a better way there's a better way to say that, but at the same time, every show needs that conflict.
Well, and do you believe in that philosophy that the villain is the hero of his or her own story?
Absolutely.
Tell me, if you can, tell me about Thelma and Louise, making that.
What a great movie. One of the great guys of the world, one of the great directors of the world is, Ridley Scott. Mm-hmm. And I made him laugh so hard in the audition that he said, "You got to come back." The joke was that it was the only thing in town, and I was doing it with my ex-fiancée, Gina Davis. I was like, oh, crap, really? But they wanted me to be the guy who's Harlan, who raped her and gets shot, and I went, no, I'm not doing that. But I'm interested in the husband. And then Gina and I got together, and we had a good laugh, and we had a really wonderful time working together. And to this day, it's one of the great films that I've been involved with, so I'm a lucky guy.
One of the great films, period. I mean, that's one that will withstand the test of time. But talking about the movies you're in, Requiem for a Dream, Quiz Show, which was such a tremendous movie, The Faculty. And I'm going to nerd out a little bit. You were in some of my favorite animated shows of all time. You're Jor-El.
Thank you. That's a great one. How about Iron Giant?
Iron Giant, absolutely.
Genius.
A classic.
It's not me. I'm not saying I'm genius, but I'm saying
such a great
Brad
movie.
Bird, that movie, ridiculous. So good.
You were also the Superman of the future in Batman Beyond.
Exactly. Thank you. You're good.
I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
I love this stuff.
Nerd.
Let's go back. I know I have you for a borrowed amount of time because you've got to get back to the 18th hole. Let's go back to Grease 2. At that point, you take that role. Was the world just all possibility? Was that just...
It was the hardest role I've ever had to audition for because I went back 5 times. I wanted to play Johnny Nagarelli, but with this Irish mug, I wasn't going to get that. But they did call me back and said, hey, we're doing a mix and match tomorrow. Why don't you come in? This is after 5 auditions. And then I was up there and I said, well, I got nothing to lose. Went in, had a great time, a great rapport, and I said, this guy's perfect. He's goofy. He's perfect. He'll be like the Kaneki guy. He'll be Goose McKenzie. And there were a lot of people who prefer that movie, the Grease 2, over the Grease 1. So
the only thing Grease 2 didn't have is that transformative Olivia Newton-John moment at the end.
True.
That's...
I'll tell you what we had was Michelle Pfeiffer.
There you go.
So there. That's a touche, mofo.
There you go. All right, so looking ahead, where can we see you next? What are you working on?
Currently airing on HBO is Ballers, where I play pretty much a cross between Kraft and Jones as 2 team owners, and I basically as the boss man, I'm trying to change the league. 18 games rather than 16. 18, lose those 2 loser preseason games, and then of course the great Dwayne Johnson comes in, and as Spencer Strathmore, he says, look, here's the thing, these players that built the game, they were in Chicago. Dick Butkus, example. They need health insurance for the rest of their lives. It's like, there's no freaking way. There's no money in that for us as the team owners. But he gets around it. It's a beautiful arc, and I'm delighted to work for HBO anytime because it's the best. And
that's what everyone says.
Yeah, well, it's like making movies, it really is. And that said, great writing, Steve Levinson, Mark Wahlberg, these great producers, they care, and of course Dwayne Johnson. He's not going to do a season 6 because he's doing other stuff. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Laziest man in Hollywood.
Apparently, he works on other things. Anyway, but I love him. He's a great guy. He's a great role model for everybody because he goes after what he wants with great passion, and that's his routine. Look, he gets up at 4:30 in the morning. He works out for an hour. He's already pumped up when he goes to work. He has like 9 meals a day, and then people serve him chicken and rice and broccoli, and God love him. He's a machine
for sure.
Yeah, he really is.
So Ballers, we can look for you there.
Yeah.
And right now we're going to look for you on the 18th hole. Thank you so much for doing this. We love you.
My pleasure.
Shooter.
Shooter.
Just had to catch up on that. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.